there's something to take away from this podcast, guys, if you ever are questioning when to throw, if you should throw a couch off the balcony, just do it. just do it. I found this random old guy. He taught me how to fish. I became the greatest masturbator. Everybody should take creatine. 5 grams a day, every day.
You already know I take Tren, obviously.
Putting in $100 every month into the S&P. By the time you're 65, you will have over $1 million.
I've only been taking in like 100 to 150 from what I've tracked.
Now you know I'm gonna get on you about that.
It.
And the funniest thing about this is Eli comes to the gym more than Chip. What is one thing you can give the listeners as a takeaway that might benefit them somehow?
You can use a condom. Yeah.
Have any questions on that, Eli?
I mean, it all makes sense.
What is happening, guys? Today, welcome to One Warrior, Season 2 of One Warrior.
Yeah.
Now, with me today, I have Eli Konoff.
Konoff.
Konoff?
Yeah.
It's not like, Konoff, then?
No.
Okay. I guess I've been pronouncing that wrong for the whole time. But welcome to Season 2 of One Warrior. If you don't know us, we've been in podcast for about 2 years now, and we did our first season about a year and a half ago. Went on this long break, a lot of things happened, and I decided to reboot it completely with audio and video. So if you're watching, you can watch this on YouTube, you can watch this on Spotify. We are on every streaming platform, from Apple Podcasts to Spotify, everything. So if you haven't watched One Warrior, check it out. There's about 36 episodes out there. I'm actually not sure what this is because I didn't look. I should have looked at what number that was on Spotify, but we're going to just continue on with Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed. Today with me, I have Eli Konoff.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
I think so.
Okay, so how I like to do interviews is I like to keep it pretty personal. It's like a conversation between two friends, basically, providing out info. I like to start out with a basic introduction called an elevator introduction. You ever hear of an elevator introduction?
I have not.
Well, this is good for you then. An elevator introduction, Eli, is, let's say you are in a building and you go into an elevator. Mm-hmm. And if you're like me, you're trying to stay away from people. But sometimes there's that one guy in there that asks, what do you do for a living? It's the elevator introduction. You basically have about 20 seconds in an elevator to explain who you are, what you do, and just a little brief talk, So I meet you in an elevator. Eli, how nice to meet you. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm Eli. I work at Dairy Queen right now, but I'm quitting and I'm going to go to college.
Okay. How old are you, Eli?
I'm 18.
Okay. So your first job has been Dairy Queen. Did you work before that at all?
No, Dairy Queen was my first job.
And what are you going to college for?
I'm going to go for media production.
Okay. So, what makes you want to go to media production?
So
First off, college is a touchy thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because a lot of people say, do you need college? Or should you go to a trade school?
Right.
So why do you want to go to college?
So I want to go to get like a lot of education and learn all the intricate things and whatever. And also with going, I already have opportunities opening up in my career that, I haven't even started yet, but like I went on an a tour to see what the media team does at like sports games and stuff. Yeah. And I already have an opportunity to work with them and get the internship I need while also making money.
So you want to videotape like sports?
Or this is just to get experience in the field, but
okay.
I'm probably going to be working more with audio than video.
Okay. Do you have like a long-term goal? Like obviously when you start something out, you're like, okay, I'm doing this right now, but is there a long-term goal? Like I want to be doing this for the shooting like video in the future?
Long-term, my main goal is to kind of work with music eventually, but working with the sports media team, I'll get experience in.
So music, like that. Music videos?
Maybe not music video.
I was going to say, you could have shot my first music video that made me popular on YouTube, which was my Viva La Vida video that we talked about on your podcast.
Yeah. I'd probably be able to with those skills, but
that's a good way to go about it. Are music videos still a thing?
I think so.
Okay. I
Like,
don't really ever see them. Like when I was your age, that was a big thing. We would like look up
yeah.
music videos and watch music videos for certain artists. And I don't hear the people talk about that anymore
I
nowadays.
mean, I don't think it's as popular as it was, but I mean, artists I listen to still do music videos.
Right. Turn the mic just a little bit,
Turn
Eli.
the mic just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. So that's kind of interesting how times change like that. So you're going to college for this video production. Do you have, I mean, I kind of knew of a route I wanted to go, kind of like work for a business, work for an ad agency, because I went to school for originally graphic design.
Hmm.
But do you have like a goal like that, or are you kind of just going with the flow?
I mean, at this right now, I'm just kind of going with the flow because
Okay.
with going with media production, I know that it's a field that I just generally enjoy doing stuff like that.
Right.
But like, there's also a wide range of opportunities from what I've looked into.
There is, and you can kind of go with the flow with that. And you can base it on how you want what direction you want to go to. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a good thing. So on today's episode, we are going to be talking about a few different topics for you guys. We are going to be talking about the first topic is Eli's progress, and that's going to be mixed with how you can go about losing weight. Because let's tell the listeners right now, you've lost about 40 pounds.
Yeah, 40 exact actually.
40 exact. Without cardio, with only lifting weights.
Hmm.
That's amazing. So, but before we get into that, the other topic too we're going to cover today is going to be how to succeed in college, because Eli's going to college, and I wish I would have known a few things before going to college. Not only when it comes to fitness, but psychology of college, because everything is different. You think you know where you are right now in life, and you think it's just you've watched some movies about college, and you're going to go off to school. It's totally different. It's going to hit you like a truck, and you're going to be like, oh wow, this is different. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tips today. Maybe the listeners can benefit from that too as well if they are also going to college, maybe possibly. And yeah, we're going to go from there. So right now, let's just jump right into the first topic, Eli. We're going to be talking about weight loss without cardio.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your goals. Like, how have you've how long have you been lifting?
I think it's about 10 months I've been lifting.
10 months. So not even a year, and you've lost 40 pounds with just lifting weights.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Now, what did you do with your diet there? Because we know diet's a big part of it.
I know it's still not where it needs to be right now, but the main thing I did was lower the amounts I ate. So like, I used to be a super snacky person per se, but after I actually started watching that and whatever, my process would be, okay, maybe I feel a tiny bit hungry, but do I really need that snack right now? And then I would realize I don't.
How many meals do you eat a day?
2.
You eat 2 meals a day.
I eat lunch and dinner.
That's the same as me. That's literally what I thought. I literally say that way works for the majority of people.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't have a crazy active job. Like if you have, let's say you got to wake up and be a construction worker, I'm not going to recommend fasting and being a construction worker. I'm going to recommend getting some food around that. But for the majority of people nowadays, we work at desks, and we don't need food all throughout the day. Even being a bodybuilder, you hear all the people say, you have to eat multiple meals throughout the day, to fuel, to keep the metabolism going, and we know that's debunked. We know literally it's all about the calorie consumption over the overall day. And it's actually over an overall week. I mean, you can mess up a few days, and as long as your calories are somewhat in check for a week, you'll be good. You'll make progress. You'll lose weight as long as you're in a deficit, of course.
Yeah.
So about how many calories are you taking in?
I think it's between like 2,000 and 3,000 a day.
And what's your body
Something like
weight
that.
right now?
300 exact.
You're at 300 pounds. You're taking in 3,000 calories. About how many grams of protein is that?
I mean, I've only been taking in like 100 to 150 from what I've tracked.
Now I'm gonna get on you about
I know
that.
Yeah, I know real well saying that.
I always recommend about 1 gram per pound. And if you're trying to gain weight, that should go up to about 1.25. To even if you want to press it, if you like protein, go to 1.5. But it's so you're a little low on your protein.
Yeah.
What about carbs?
Carbs.
How many grams of carbs are you taking in?
That's a good question. I don't know.
How many grams of fat?
I don't know that.
Okay, so
I tracked my calories.
So you're calorie track. So this is good though, because a lot of people think you have to do everything perfect to get results right off the bat. You know, like I'm a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. Like I know right now I'm on a maintenance phase. I'm taking in about 3,000 calories right now. I am doing about 200 grams of protein, doing about 300 to 350 grams of carbs, and doing about 80 to 90 fat right now. That's what I'm doing. And like for me, when I know my numbers, I know if I need to adjust them, you know, and you can take away things. That's why I like to have all the numbers. Because if I only tracked protein, there would be a point where I don't know then how many carbs I'm taking and how many fats. You know, I don't know how to adjust that. But if I know all my numbers, then I can be like, okay, I can take away some carbs or I can take away some fats and continue to get leaner. Now, have you made any drastic calorie reduction since you started?
Not drastic per se, but like just generally taking in less.
Okay, so when you first started, were you taking this amount or were you taking in more?
I think I was taking in more.
Okay, about how much more?
I mean, I didn't count my calories until I
just an estimate, maybe
estimate probably like 3,500.
So you were on 3,500 calories. Now that's interesting because that's exactly my recommendations, about 400 to 500 calories for weight loss for long term. If you're trying to lose weight, that's my recommendation, basically about 400 500 deficit, and you just naturally did that, and you've lost 40 pounds and counting, right? You haven't had to adjust. You're still losing. And how many days a week are you training?
5 usually.
5 days a week. Talk about your split a little bit.
So usually I'll train, like this is the newer schedule, but I'll train back on Sundays.
Okay.
And then Monday I'll do chest. And then Tuesday I'll do legs. Wednesday I'll do shoulders. And then I'll have a rest day Thursday. And then train arms Fridays with you guys. And then have another rest Saturday.
Train arms with us on Fridays, like once every month. Just okay. Get a little bit closer to you.
All right. I try to. I was
gonna say you try to train with us every Friday. We would like it when you can. We like it when you come. It's a good time. But as you see though, there's something he didn't mention though in there. Cardio. Where's your cardio? Where's your cardio, brother? How are you doing? How are you losing weight without cardio?
I don't know. Just lifting weights.
Do you keep a fast pace when you lift?
I mean, I'll do like.
Do you rest? Periods?
I have rest periods of like 1 to 3 minutes.
1 to 3 minutes.
Usually, depending on the day, yeah. And then I'll do like 5 sets of. Sometimes it's like 5 reps doing heavy sets, and then sometimes it's 8 to 12 reps.
So, I love that you put that in there because. But people are probably thinking, oh, he lost cardio. He lost weight without cardio. He's probably just circuit training. He's doing a set of squats, doing some like circuit training, you know, getting your heart rate up, basically cardio lifting. And that's not what he did. He did my split power bodybuilding, basically a power movement like powerlifting, and then hypertrophy training afterwards in the hypertrophy rep range. And I've recommended this to basically everybody I've ever worked with because it works. It works because the benefit of powerlifting is astronomical, and we will get into that here today. And on top of that, you get your hypertrophy, so you get your size training as well. So it's a combination of that. It's just a perfect program. It works for basically everybody, and it works for whatever goal you have. And the reason I have you on too is because a lot of people see who I've coached and who I've helped and my progress myself, and I'm a smaller guy. And they say, oh, well, this works for you. This power bodybuilding, it works for you. You can maintain your leanness and get strong. And I wanted to prove that you could take everything I'm doing and throw it into a totally different goal, completely opposite, losing weight, which is, I don't want to lose weight.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's nutrition. It comes with nutrition. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And I want to make sure people understand that you don't have to slave away doing cardio in the gym, trying to burn calories when lifting can be your priority. Because you've noticed, like, what do you love about lifting?
I just love like the pump and like just lifting how much I can lift and whatever.
I love the pump.
And it's a good mind clearer too, like having one focused goal of hitting a weight and then just not having to focus on anything else.
Just like mindset switch and stuff. Have you ever seen Pumping Iron?
Pumping Iron.
Please tell me you have. Every lifter has got to watch Pumping Iron. It's one of the best. I'd say it's one of the best documentaries that every lifter should see at least once in their life. I've watched it probably 5 times. It used to be on Netflix. I don't think it is anymore, but Pumping Iron, it's, Arnold, Franco Columbu, those olden golden days of bodybuilding. It's a documentary on them. It's fantastic. Always, you have to watch that.
I'll have to watch it.
Yes, you will. All right. So I brought this up because The Biggest Loser, have you ever heard The Biggest Loser? That is a TV show.
I think so.
It's it used to be a really popular show. And there's a lot of people think, losing a lot of weight. Like you were 300. What were you when you started?
I was 340 when I started.
340, almost 350 pounds.
Yeah.
And, and that would be small for that show. Those people, but what I'm trying to say here is The Biggest Loser is famous for getting big people to lose weight. And one of the things that show does wrong a lot is it's not sustainable. They make the workouts so ridiculous. You've never watched it, have you? Probably.
I don't think I've watched it. I have heard of it though.
You have heard of it, okay. They make basically, there's videos, of them, the training, and the trainers are like all in their face, like, keep going, you got one more. And the participants look like they're gonna die, and nothing's sustainable about that.
Yeah.
If we brought you to the gym, Eli, and we did that, if we got in your face like that, would you have ever come back?
Probably not.
Right there is my point. Lifting, whatever you do in the gym, must be sustainable. And when you bring so much cardio in your routine and it's punishment, when lifting becomes punishment, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't want to do punishment. And they don't enjoy it. And also the diet is not long-term on there. Basically, they work with nutritionists and trainers on that show to help them with their diet. But the diets are a lot of times you're eating chicken, like super low carb, and it's these very bland diets. And they work. They lost a lot of weight on these shows. They look phenomenal after they're done. Even, the 6 month, they do like a video recap with them 6 months later and say, that they look great. But what they don't do is come back, years later. A lot of them have regained all the weight because there are a lot of grim studies that show, if you go through a big crash diet, you're going to gain all that back and more. Not just what you've gained before, but more. Because that's your body will actually put on more fat because of that. And that's what happens with a lot of those participants. And there's also the last thing here on that point I want to cover is there's not heavy weight. You see in these shows, these guys are always like doing just cardio with dumbbells, running and play, doing all this active stuff, which is good for the heart. It's aerobic, but it's no heavy weight. And there's a benefit to having heavy weight in any training program. Because I say, and I'll maybe cover this a little bit too, but it's heavy weight is, I call it an investment. While basically you can lift, in the hypertrophy rep range, people like to call it, I say that, just to refer to what people know, and that's the 8 to 15 rep, There, and then some people think, why do that? And then what is the benefit of doing heavy like 3 to 5s, when you can just do 8 to 12 to get the same results? And the fact is, as you age, you naturally lose strength. Yeah. You naturally, that will just happen as age comes. And what happens with a lot of people is when they're doing that 8 to 15 rep range, there's higher rep ranges. They will lose strength faster because they're not put under it in time. Like, have you ever gone through a phase in the gym? You've been lifting for about 10 months. I don't know. But have you gone off your split and taken a break from the power movements at all and just done the hypertrophy movements?
No.
So, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to cover that then, because what happens is when you get away from heavy lifting, your body starts to forget how to lift heavy weights. It goes through, the strength is a skill. Yeah. And if you don't practice that skill, you lose it. Yeah. And what happens is when you age, your joints and everything, they naturally get weaker, and you hear it all the time. People, as they get older, joint pain. I mean, me and Josh at the gym are terrible for this. We have so much pains and shit, but we have pains from lifting though. I mean, we've gone too hard in the past. It's not from this reason, but a lot of people have pains though, because they have not put their body through enough stress and trauma to strengthen them. I always say, look at the studies that have shown martial artists, there's studies of martial artists smashing their hands on metal rods to strengthen their bones. That's actually a thing. What happens is the studies are fascinating on this. Yeah. they took these studies. They took martial artists and had them palm, like just fist palm metal poles, okay, and just bum 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 bum, okay, and they did it through cycles and stuff. What happened was they found their bone density increased.
Oh, wow.
It was breaking down, so the body saw that it needed to build itself back up. So the body adapted itself. So when we don't do heavy training, when we just go through the easy rep ranges, the pump stuff, 8 to 15, you just pump it up. You're not putting stress under the bones and the joints and connective tissue, the stuff that keeps you young and powerful. And what happens when you age, then you get weaker. Even though you're still going to the gym, we see it all the time. We see people in the gym around, their 40s, 50s, and they're lifting super light dumbbells, and they're thinking they have to do that because they've aged, and because that's what the media has taught them to. As you age, you have to lift lighter, and it makes you weaker over time. So the point of always lifting heavy in the beginning of a workout, powerlifting movement, power bodybuilding, is it's going to keep your joints, connective tissues, ligaments, all that strong as you age. Basically, it's an investment to your body and later on in life. So I wanted to bring that up because, like I said, a lot of people just, when they want to lose weight, do cardio, do high reps. They do the pump stuff. And that's fine. It can work to a certain degree, but there's a point where, let's say you stop lifting for a bit, you're going to put all that weight back on, and your muscle too is not going to be as strong too. But let's say if you continue to lift heavy weights, you'll always have that background of lifting. You'll always have that density built up, that strength, come back to that strength, Yeah. And that's important because it's longevity, It's if you can do this longer, you can stay more consistent, and it's more sustainable. And that's exactly the opposite of what big shows like Biggest Loser present. They go into the whole cardio thing. So I wanted to bring that up right there. So Eli, what got you to the gym?
Wow. So it started with Chip good old Chip pushing me into it.
Ethan Carter.
Yep. He, for months on months, tried to tell me why I should, but I made up excuses like not having enough money or transportation or sometimes even time. But then when I got a job and moved to close to the gym, I decided I'd give it a try because I wanted to better my health personally. I
still remember the first night you came in. I still remember that. I think I was doing tricep pushdowns at the time, and Chip was like, he's here, and I'm like, who? My friend Eli, he finally came. I'm like, oh, I finally get to meet this guy. Because Chip was telling me about you for a while and saying how he thought you would like it at the gym. He thought you could get into it, but he was like, I don't know if he'll ever come. So what was that breaking point that actually got you to come to the gym? Because that's a big thing. When people are overweight, they're very scared a lot of times to even enter a gym, let alone join a gym.
I think the biggest thing was like, once I basically ran out of excuses because I moved to where I was basically down the road from the gym, and then I got a job, so I had consistent money coming in.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? We'll just give it a try because why not?
Okay. So on top of that, your Chip got you to get to the gym. Was a group of friends pushing you to do it? Was it peer pressured or anything like that?
He was the only one pushing me to do it.
Chip was the only one. And the funniest thing about this is Eli comes to the gym more than Chip. I would say probably, Josh would probably agree with me on this too. 60% of the time more you come to the gym than Chip, at least.
Yeah, nowadays he does go more often than he used to, though.
Yeah,
because he goes pretty much every day that
he's also doing jiu-jitsu right now too. So I'm kind of giving him a break because that's a whole nother topic. But
I have been there more than him, it seems like.
Okay, do you have a training partner when you train?
Yeah, my buddy Ethan.
Okay, do you think that helps you? Together.
I think it. Motivation wise, like we can kind of motivate each other, and having someone to spot, like when we do bench and whatever, that's nice.
Do you think you'd have less motivation if you didn't have a training partner?
I don't think it'd be less, but I don't know, because like I did train by myself like a couple of days a week before he started going to the gym.
Okay.
And I didn't like lose motivation or anything. I just popped in an earbud, started listening to music and getting all ready and just trained.
You have a routine before you go to the gym at all? Or just you walk out the door and you're ready to go?
I mean, I just take my pre-workout and go.
Okay, supplements. Well, I bet you're taking a lot of fat burners. I mean, to lose 40 pounds in 10 months, I bet you're taking a lot of fat burners.
Nope.
I'm saying that sarcastically.
Yeah.
What supplements are you on, Eli?
I just take pre-workout.
What steroids are you taking? Come on, all the young people.
You already know. I take Tren, obviously.
That's right. You talked about that on your podcast. I got you to admit you took Tren on your podcast. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the real supplements you take.
But no, just pre-workout.
And what pre-workout do you take?
I use Bucked Up.
Okay,
AF.
I don't know what's in that. I know that's I make all my own supplements. I mix everything, so I don't use any branded ones. Do you know any active ingredients in that or anything?
I'm not sure. Okay. It's just what Chip used, and he recommended it to me, so I used it.
Do you take creatine?
No.
Eli. Creatine has over 365 different studies on the benefits of it.
I probably should.
Everybody should take creatine. 5 grams a day, every day, even on your rest days. Take that even on your rest. A lot of people say they forget to take it on their rest days. Mm-hmm. Just take it with their breakfast. It doesn't have to be around lifting. Just 5 grams every day. There's so many benefits, not just strength benefits to it, but there's memory enhancement benefits, cognitive benefits. They've shown it can keep away Alzheimer's in recent studies. There are so many benefits to taking creatine. I have everybody I know taking creatine. It's something that I always recommend. I never say, oh, you shouldn't take creatine. The only time I would say that is if you've had previous kidney problems. That's the only time I would say maybe not.
Gotcha.
And notice how it's not a definite not, just a maybe not. It's maybe something to consider at that point. Get on creatine.
Yeah, my kidneys are fine. I should probably get on creatine.
You should get on creatine. I have taken creatine since 2000. Gosh, 2000. When did I get on creatine? 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I started lifting back in 2000. Let's see here. I can't do the math. What's 18 years ago?
18 years ago would be...
I know this is my 18th year lifting.
2000... Wait.
I'm terrible at math. You're the good one.
Hold on. 05?
2005. Okay, that makes sense. So
yeah.
I started lifting when I guess the year was 2005. But I started taking creatine about 5 years after that, though, about 2010, after I really got into the studies of it. Mm-hmm. But that's another thing, too. Do you think supplements are needed?
I mean, they help. I don't think they're 100% necessary, but they definitely help.
Do you think there is a performance benefit to taking supplements?
I think there is.
Okay.
Because like, I know when I've went without pre-workout before, I don't know, I don't have as much energy as I have. Or maybe not as much energy, but like, it could have just been the day, but I don't know. Like, so I feel like it helps. You
think it helps? Okay. That's it's interesting. I mean, different people have different opinions on that. I mean, I know people that take a lot of stuff, and I know people that don't take much at all. Do you take any vitamins though?
Mm-mm.
You don't take any vitamins?
No.
I always recommend people take a few things. The things I always recommend people take is D3. A B super complex, a fish oil. Those are just definite things. And there's other things I could recommend if you have certain deficiencies and things, but the main things are basically a vitamin D3. Have you heard me talk about vitamin D3 at all ever? I did like a whole podcast on it in season 1. I'm a big fan of it. D3 can change your life. I ran a study basically on myself back 2017 and tested the upper limits of it, because there's always a saying, vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so meaning that you store it. So unlike water soluble, like B is a water soluble vitamin. If you take too much, you just pee it out. There's no downside to it. However, D though is a fat soluble, meaning you store it, and storing too much of it can cause adverse effects. But vitamin D has also a lot of performance benefits, a lot. It's the same thing we get from the sun. Problem is nowadays, What's the bad thing about most people nowadays?
Don't ever go outside.
Exactly. It's worse now than ever then. I
Yeah.
mean, most jobs are inside in front of a desk. I always try, to get some sun each day, especially in the summer. I like to sit outside at least 15 minutes without my shirt on, get some sun, and get that vitamin D exposure, because vitamin D is a very benefit to overall strength, your sex drive, testosterone, overall energy and metabolism. I mean, there's a lot of things that D helps. But if I did a podcast last season, though, I can't remember what number, but I talked for like 3 hours almost
Oh my gosh.
on testosterone and vitamin D. It was ridiculous, but that podcast also has like 600 listens too. So I guess I helped some people.
I guess so. That's wild.
Yeah, but so vitamin D is always a good one, but that's one you should get on probably. So you said you train about 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like doing that 5 days a week?
Yeah.
So you like training 5 days a week?
Yeah.
If you wanted to train less, would you?
I mean, if I really wanted to, I mean, it would depend on how bad, but I would consider like mixing days.
Mixing days?
But
the 5 days,
but
you've
I
gotten
like
used
the
to
5 days. Yeah.
And I bring that up because people may hear like, oh, he's in the gym 5 days a week. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's possible to get your results on less days a week?
I feel like it just depends on how hard you're training each day.
Right. I recommend personally for most people at least 3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think people can make amazing results on only 3 days. I have seen people really, build quite a bit of muscle, especially in the early years too. You're young. You've only been doing this for 10 months, not even a year.
Yeah.
So you've that basically the beginner gains concept. That's a real thing. You get beginner gains, and you've probably noticed it. Let's talk about some of your lifts here. I mean, let's talk about what's your best bench?
My best bench is 175, I think.
You've hit 185.
Have I?
Oh, you did.
I might have. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I mean, I didn't do a lot of flat like barbell bench though. I'm starting out. We did mostly dumbbells, but
what about your dumbbell bench?
I think I've hit like 60 or 65 on that.
Okay.
For the dumbbells.
What about your squat? This is the most impressive thing.
I've hit 315.
Yeah, that's right. And it's amazing. Like I'll put up some videos of Eli squatting right now to watch him squatting. But I'm hoping you're giving me videos of you when you first started, and also
I've got some of when I first started.
Okay, good, because I want people to see the improvements on your squat from when you first started. How fast you can improve. Because would you say the squat was probably one of the first things you noticed getting better? Overall.
Yes, very much.
And you did legs once or twice a week?
Once.
Okay.
It was like, because I mean, that was what shot up really quick.
Your legs.
Yeah.
I remember one of our first training days, we trained with you and we did legs. And I noticed it right away. Like you've got football player legs. On the leg press, I noticed. I was like, this guy's gonna be like squatting 500 pounds, and you're already squatting for over 300 pounds in not even a year. So I think, and you just told, what was the goal that you told me the other day at the gym?
I want to hit 405 by the end of the year.
By the end of this year. There's 2 other training partners of mine that have that same goal, and both those guys have been training. I mean, Josh, he's been lifting for probably 5 or 6 years consecutively. And Chad, he's been lifting about 8 to 9 years consecutively. Somewhere in there. Chad's going to be like, no, that's wrong. But the point is, though, the progress you're making is insane.
Yeah.
What was your top squat like right off the bat when your first ever top set?
It was probably like, I think it was like around 2 plates ish. I'm not sure though. Or within the first few months, I hit it. That I know that.
Okay, so about 225.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And would you say form is something you focused on a lot to try to improve?
Yeah, it was, because I mean, you guys like told me how like the bending over and like, or like I'm keeping it, I can't think of the words for it, but it's like keeping it more straight instead of hunched over when you're going up.
Not
You'd see it
necessarily. I mean,
or-
some people like to squat more hunched over, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's some
Yeah.
elite level powerlifters that squat more hunched over.
There was just like something I was doing
Probably
wrong
locking your
in that area.
lats. I'm
Yeah,
guessing it was probably locking your
probably.
lats. What was the biggest thing you thought? Like, was there any point in like squats, for example, where you once you changed up this thing you were doing that your lift decided to just get stronger?
That was when I brought the bar down slightly lower into that little shelf area in your back instead of having it like right on your neck.
I brought that up because that's funny because that's the same thing that happened to me. I was a high bar squatter from 2010 to 2016 when I blew out my discs, my low L4, L5. And when I reintroduced squatting, I decided to relearn a completely different movement, low bar. Because I've read about the benefits of it. I've read it's more stable, it's more stationary, it's more powerful. So I was like, I have to rebuild from scratch anyway from the bar. So I might as well rebuild with a completely different form. And I switched to low bar, and within probably six to 7 months, I hit a brand new PR. When I was high bar squatting, the best squat I ever hit was 245, 240 high bar, and that was before I had messed up my back. And then low bar, once I rebuilt my low bar, the best low bar I ever got then was let's see here, that'd been 280. No, not that high. 275, I think. Not 285, but 275. Yeah. I hit it on quarantine actually. When I was training, because a lot of people, when they were getting fat and overweight during quarantine, I was at my home gym here below us. I have a home gym right below the studio. And I was training my ass off, and I was doing the basics during quarantine. I was literally, powerlifting what I used to powerlift, and I got up to some crazy numbers again. I put on, I think, like 15 solid pounds. I was up to 175 by the end of quarantine. I was jacked. I was a lot bigger than I am now. I'm like 154 right now because of some injuries that happened and shit. But the point is, though, different progress is going to happen at different points when you relearn, motor patterns.
Yeah.
When you fix your form and you figure out what works for you too. All right, let's talk about cardio. Are you planning on throwing cardio in at all?
I was eventually I might once I don't see once progress slows down, if I hit a plateau. That's
perfect. I was hoping you'd say that. What happens wrong with most people is, they throw cardio in right away. They switch goals. Like, I hear this so many times, like, I'm going to get lean, so I'm going to start doing 20 minutes 4 times a week. Right off the bat, they throw this astronomical number out there, and they do that and burn themselves out, and they don't have anywhere to go then from there. Like, from there, like, let's say you're doing cardio 4 times, 20 minutes a week. Now you've got to up that to 30 minutes 4 times a week. And once you hit another sticking point, why not? I say, look at all the tools, like tools in your tool belt. You have a nail in a wall, okay? You're not going to pull out you're not going to pull out a sledgehammer to get a nail out of the wall. You're going to pull out the least amount of tools needed to get a nail out of the wall. And the same thing for cardio. I just think the sledgehammer was a stupid thing. I mean, I'm going to get a nail out of the wall. I'm going to break down this wall with a sledgehammer to get this one nail out.
Yeah.
But, some people think like that, though. Some people are like, I want to lose weight. I'm going to do an hour of cardio every single night. That's the sledgehammer reference.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. So the point is, cardio can be used. There's nothing wrong with cardio. I don't want people thinking, oh, Shawn just hates cardio. Cardio is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you throw in a bunch all at one time to try to hit a certain goal, that's when it's a problem, because you have to continue to up it from there. And when it's a tool in the tool belt, you can pull it out like you just said. Yeah. You're to a point, you've done about 10 months now training, lost about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
When do you think you're going to start throwing some cardio in?
Probably my guess would be in the next 6 to 12 months, because still seeing progress. It's slowed down a little bit, there's still progress happening.
How often are you weighing yourself?
Every month.
Once every month?
Yep.
So let me get this right, Eli. You're not waking up every morning and weighing yourself and saying like, damn it, I lost. Or in your case, for me, it's when I lose weight. I do that. But you don't wake up in the morning and be like, damn it, I gained 5 pounds. You don't stress over the scale that much?
Nope.
See, that's another thing. People stress over the scale a lot. They become glued to the scale to the point where they will base, there's a psychology aspect to it that, when you, for instance, are trying to lose weight and you weigh yourself every morning, if you see the scale is up 5 pounds, your whole day is going to be like shit.
Yeah.
There's a psychological aspect to it. And that's what happens. And then it will get them down. They'll have a bad workout. It'll lead into all that. They won't feel as motivated. That's why I say to people, don't weigh yourself every week or once or every day. I mean, you can probably weigh yourself once a week. You could do that. That's what I have a lot. That's the people I've coached in my past. I have recommended that to them about once a week, because once a week or once every 2 weeks, you can make adjustments based on that. That's a good foundation. You can't really, the body's going to fluctuate every day in weight.
Yeah.
But if you find an average for that week, like another way to do it too, and I only recommend this if you can psychologically get past the fact that you might put on 5 pounds of water in a night that you say you go eat out pizza with your friends. You higher sodium, you're going to retain a little bit more water.
Yeah.
If you can get over that, the way I have also recommended is take your weight every day, write it down, and then calculate the average. And that number over time should go down. Yeah. Now, like I said, that's a very touchy thing. I don't recommend it to most women, because women are the ones I'm mainly talking about here, because they will get to a point where they will look at the scale every day and base their whole day off if they had a good weigh-in. That will literally be psychologically. So like I said, that's a tool you can use. It's a very powerful way too to measure progress, because if that average is going down month after month or after week, you'll notice, like with the mirror, you'll notice too, like, wow, this is working. And it's a very scientific way to match your progress with the numbers on the scale without obsessing over every day. Yeah. But it's a something. Can you handle that though? I don't want to hear you next time you get to the gym. I am having a bad workout. I weighed 5 pounds more today, Shawn. I was like, Eli, what did I tell you?
Yeah.
So when it comes to weighing, do you keep consistent with how you weigh yourself? Is it a certain time every day?
I usually do it like in the morning.
Okay. And then fasted without water after the bathroom in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. That's another thing. A lot of people will forget to stay consistent with what time they weigh. And they might weigh in the morning on one day, and another time they take their progress, they do it at night by accident, and that's going to vary differently. Yeah. I probably weigh almost 10 pounds heavier at night because I've taken all that food, all that salt, all that retains. I mean, if I flex at night, I will be so full because I'll be full of carbs and sodium. In the morning, I'll look flat, and I'll probably lose 5 to 8 pounds of water just by sleeping. And that's just, it varies. But the point is to stay consistent on your weigh-ins. Do you think there's any problem with, do you have any negatives with cardio yourself? I personally don't too much, but I want to hear your thoughts on cardio.
I don't really have any negatives against it. But like with stereotypical cardio, as in like running and like just like constant running and whatnot, I don't prefer it. Yeah. When I was younger, story time, when I was younger, I tried losing weight and did stereotypical cardio for maybe a week and quit because it was not enjoyable.
And it bounces back to my first reference. If it's not sustainable, you're not going to do it. Yeah. I want to cover on that too. When you're a heavier person doing cardio, it's hard on the joints. Yeah. Very hard. And you might think, well, what's the difference between that and lifting heavy? There's a difference though, because the point of when you're lifting heavy, you're strengthening the joint under pressure. The difference is impact. When you're doing cardio, impact on joints, that can cause problems. And that's why, lifting weights, see some old people at the gym. Like we see some old people do at the gym when they, do, I'm not going to mention any names or anything, of course, but some people, do their reps like their bicep curls, and they try to, that's a lot of impact on the joints, and that's the same thing too. I'd say that's one of the biggest disadvantages of cardio is the impacts on the overall joints that it does. And also people don't think about this, but once your body gets used to a certain cardio limit, it develops that as the norm. It's used to that. So what happens when you stop doing that cardio?
You're going to put on more weight and such.
More than what you started with.
Yeah.
Because your body adapts. It's your body, whatever you do, if there's one thing you have to learn in this life, whatever you do, your body's going to adapt to it.
Yeah.
That's how you make changes, as your body adapts, and then you push it yourself over that limit, and it will adapt over that limit, and it continues. The same goes with cardio in the heart and your metabolic rate. You get your cardio built up to a level. Let's say you're walking 2 miles every day, and you think, I'm doing 2 miles every day. I'm exercising. I'm doing this exercise.
Mm-hmm.
If that number is still 2 miles in, say, a month from now, your body is adapted. That is the new norm.
Yeah.
Meaning that to surpass that level, you now have to do more. And if you think, oh, I don't have to do that anymore, you're going to put on more weight than what you started with.
Yeah.
Because your body has thought, okay, this guy is going to walk 2 miles every day. We're going to store this amount of food every day just so we know he's going to burn it off. That's what happens. Your body's not stupid.
Yeah.
It's not. God gave us very intelligent bodies to adapt to basically anything. And what this comes down to is a survival thing. You know, you think about, primal days, you'd get to a point where if you had to catch a meal, you had to hunt and catch a meal, you would store that food for the next time when you needed it. It was basically a thing for survival. And the same thing, our bodies are the same exact as they were back then. They see that running as something that they have to do every day. Mm-hmm. So then when they stop doing that, or if they ever stop doing that, their bodies would be like, oh, he's eating the same amount. We're not doing this energy anymore. We're going to put on more weight than what we even started with. Yeah. And that's another bad thing with cardio. Because I see a lot of people, and I hear a lot of old people too, especially older people, get to an age where they walk every day. They purposely try to walk, 2 miles, 5 miles. Mm-hmm. And they think that's, they're doing really good. And, I'm not going to say that's bad. I mean, walking is fantastic. Right. I love walking. But if you're doing the same thing over and over, your body adapts and you no longer make progress on that. Your body is just like, that is the norm. Yeah. So that's something to remember. If you're trying to incorporate cardio with your training, you're going to adapt to that type of cardio, and you're going to have to surpass it to get to that next level. And how you get off that cardio. Let's say if you're doing 5 days, or let's talk about a little bit if you're doing 5 days a week cardio right now. Mm-hmm. Do I recommend just dropping off 5 days? If you're doing, let's say you're doing 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Do I recommend dropping that to 0 right off the bat? No. Exactly. You got to taper it down. I would recommend you going 4 days, or even 5 days going, instead of what I say, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 days, 20 minutes, and then maybe 5 days, 15, and then back off 1 day. It's the same thing going up, going back down. You have to reintroduce your body. So your body's like, okay, he's not doing as much cardio. We're going to lower that, and your body will adapt to that new norm then. And you can get back to a baseline of not having to do cardio, because a lot of people are stuck. I know some people that think they have to do, almost an hour cardio just to maintain every day. And it's crazy. It is. And they're young people. They're young.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, exactly. So think about that for a second. I mean, they have got their body used to this high cardio. Yeah. And I don't know if they're afraid to get off of it or don't know how to get off of it, because I have been there in the past. I went through a phase in college where I became a cardio junkie in college. I got to the point where I needed to do a crazy amount of cardio after my weights. Mm-hmm. So, and I got to the point where I was burnt out. I was completely burnt out. I was feeling like I had to do that all the time. And if I didn't do it, I'd feel like I wasn't lifting. I wasn't training. Yeah. And it's important to be able to back off of that and give people, a way to back off of that as well. Yeah. Have any questions on that, Eli?
I mean, it all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
Not any specific questions.
No specific questions. Okay.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. You just don't overdo it and just slowly back off if you need to get off.
And don't make any drastic changes.
Yeah. That's what. As long as it's not drastic, the body will adapt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, guys, it is time for Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Now, I was trying to think, all these new podcasts coming up and rebooting and stuff, they all have like a little game show in there. I was thinking, what would work best for my show? And I went through different ideas, different trivia ideas, and I came up with one that, this show, do you remember this show?
Yeah.
So you do remember it?
Yeah. Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grader? Yeah.
I remember, I mean, I was like, gosh, I was maybe like 13 or 14 when we watched that show.
I remember the show being a thing. I don't know if I watched it.
Okay. Well, it was on when I was younger. So I was thinking back to a show that me and like my sister would like watch when we ate dinner and whatnot every night, and we answer questions. I thought it was a good idea to incorporate with the podcast. So I have here, Eli, 10 questions. Do you think you are smarter than a fifth grader?
I mean, I'd like to think so, but
some of these questions, man, they made me think. First question. What is the largest planet in the solar system?
I think that's Saturn. Wait, is it? No, I don't know.
Think about it. I think I would have got that one right.
I've got 3 guesses, but
okay, 3 guesses. Saturn,
Venus,
no,
or Jupiter.
Jupiter. Yes, Jupiter is the largest planet. Ding, ding, ding. Who wrote the famous play Romeo and Juliet?
That was Shakespeare.
William Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Yep, you got it. What is the capital of Canada? This one made me think.
I want to say Toronto, but
that's what I said too when I first.
Think that's
it's not though. It's not Toronto. I was surprised.
I don't think it's Vancouver, but
not Vancouver. Nope.
I don't know.
Ottawa.
Oh, I forgot that was a thing, to be honest.
I missed that one too. How many sides does a triangle have?
How many sides does a triangle have? 3.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's 3?
A triangle. Like.
You got it.
Yeah, 3.
I was gonna throw you out of the house if you got that one wrong. I can't have this guy on the podcast. The chemical symbol. Okay, wait. I was reading the answer almost. What is the chemical symbol for oxygen?
Just O.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
And who painted the famous artwork The Starry Night?
Was that Van Gogh?
Yes. Nice. I got that one wrong. What is the primary language? What is the primary language spoken in Japan?
Japanese.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. Another one I would throw you out of the house for. How many continents are there in the world?
7.
Yes. What is the square root of 49?
49 is square root. 7.
You got it. And last one. Who is credited with discovering gravity?
Isaac Newton.
Yes. I would say you missed. What did you miss there? You missed the Canada one. You missed the solar system one.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 out of 10. You missed 2 out of 10. So that's an 80%.
I passed.
You're smarter than a 5th grader. Congratulations, Eli. Congratulations.
Go.
Congratulations.
Some of those questions just like make you think they're trick questions because of how simple they are.
I mean, some of them, I have a whole list that I pull from, and some of them on there, like some of my guests, I'm going to really struggle with some of them that I've pulled from other guests. I struggled with some of them even. It's pretty crazy.
I'd like to see Chip try to answer those.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have Chip and Garrett on the podcast at the same time. I'm going to have to do something special for that. That's going to be fantastic. All right, so we're going to come to our next topic now, college. How to succeed in college.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to go into this because I'd like to say I failed at college a lot of times, just in a lot of different instances. And there's things I wish I would have known when it comes to college. Well, first thing we're going to cover is fitness, obviously. It's a fitness podcast, One Warrior. But we're going to cover the fitness aspect first. So when it comes to fitness, do you have any set rules you set for yourself out there to succeed? Like did you make any rules for yourself to keep you on track?
Not necessarily, like for fitness.
Well, I mean, in general. I mean, any rules.
Just in general.
Yeah.
In general, I just have kept like a rule of to not get myself in like deep trouble or anything, and just to stay on track with my work. Like that. I mean, that's how I graduated top of the class. Was just
Are you
keeping up with my work and whatever.
are you working in college too?
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do for your work?
I've got a job set up to work with the media team for sports games and whatever.
Okay. And you're getting paid probably pretty decent. Better than Dairy Queen?
Oh, I can promise it'll be better than Dairy Queen.
So, okay. So you're making your own money then for college, basically.
Yeah.
Do you have a set aside money to bring with you? Are you prepared basically for, I'm not talking about the actual expenses for college itself, but the life, your life outside of the actual school.
I mean, not much. I've got some, but not much.
So I brought that up because budget is everything. And
Yeah.
the budget, I mean, is important for life. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally stick to a budget myself every month.
Mm-hmm.
And when in college is a good time to experiment with budget and figure out what works for you. And I came up with basically not a rule set for you, but like category wise, how to help yourself with this.
Mm-hmm.
So basically it is budget out everything: food, fun, lifestyle, and investing. Those are your 4 categories you should have money set aside for. Food. How much are you looking to spend in food?
That's a good question. But I mean, on the topic of food though, for the college I'm going to, BG, you set up a meal plan when you apply. So you have you pay for it with your expenses like right away, but basically you have your ID card and you can swipe it and you'll get meals for the whole year.
Wow. So, okay. So you're not actually.
I mean, that's not what I'm going to use for all my meals probably, but
How many meals a day do they feed you?
I think they're willing to do all 3, but it just depends on the plan you go with.
Okay. And what's the plan you're going with?
Okay, so there's bronze, silver, and gold. The only difference is the amount of swipes you get, and I went with a silver plan.
Okay. Explain the silver plan a little bit.
So basically, it's like the middle, like you get more swipes, but not like the top amount of swipes, and it's cheap. Like each one costs more. I mean,
Why does this sound like a prison?
It kind of does. Like, I mean, you can use it because they have like a food building or whatever, and they've got like a cafeteria or even different restaurants on campus that you can use the meal swipes for.
Are you staying on campus?
Yeah.
So you're staying in just the dorm room and stuff?
Yeah.
So you don't, like when I went to college, we had like I'm trying to think what you call it. Maybe like a townhouse apartment type of thing we stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
And we supplied our own food. We went to a grocery store. We had a fridge and all that. You probably don't have that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'm gonna have a mini fridge, but that's about it. I mean,
what's your plan to, like, for me, and what I recommend for a lot of people is find a food that you can replicate a lot, that works well, that you like to eat, that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens to a lot of people is they gain the freshman 15. And that's what I wanted to do the segment for. Because I'd hate to see you go off to college and add 45 pounds. you come back and you're 45 pounds heavier and be like, Eli, what did we talk about?
Yeah.
So what do you have any plan? Like, are there any staple foods that you're going to have like on hand for you?
I mean, I have the option of going to the store and buying specific foods to keep up with that.
Mm-hmm.
But they've also got like different, I don't know if they have the same stuff every day or not, but I know they do different meals whenever.
Do you know what's on the meal plan there at all?
It just depends on where you're going. It's like
what I'm picturing, Eli, I'm going to interrupt you here. What I'm picturing is pizza, like school, like
no, they have actual
like school
food.
Lunches.
No, these are way better than school lunches. They've got actual food.
They've got actual food. You say that, you're going to come back. Yeah, we had hot dogs. And be like, Because like for me, I had a budget. I set my budget at about $450 to sometimes $500 a month for food. That gave me about $120 to spend, because at that time, now food is expensive now, but at that time food was expensive as well. But it was, I budgeted out about close to $500 each month for groceries. And I had certain things I could stick to. Like I knew like canned tuna. salmon, canned salmon, obviously,
Mhm.
canned chicken,
Yeah.
canned meats are okay. And they're actually very beneficial when you're on a budget. I've gone through points in my life when I've been unemployed and I've done canned tuna and rice, till I could get a job. It was, you have to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But so you don't have to set aside any budget for food.
I mean, I'm not.
You're paying,
I don't think
you're
do.
paying all in advance.
Yeah,
if you are.
You pay a lot in advance.
That's interesting. Okay, so do you have for your fun aspect? So the next category is fun. Food, fun. So what fun is like? We're going out tonight. Fun is your fun.
Yeah.
It's
budget wise, I'd probably try to set aside like 50 to 100 a week.
50 to 100 a week. That's a pretty good number, actually. That's not bad, especially too if you're saving money with food. If you've already paid for all your food ahead of time, and you're not having to spend on groceries.
Yeah,
that's really a big thing. So I'd say that's real reasonable, actually. 50 to 100. I mean, I had roommates that blew 300 or so on like bar trips. Like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I never did any of that. Let me correct. I never had any expeditions that cost to be $300 out. But that's a good one to go with. 50 to 100. I'd say that's good. The next one's on here is let's see here, lifestyle. Lifestyle is about like clothing. Your supplies basically.
Okay.
Clothing is an example. Do you have any budget for that or anything? Or
no, I don't have any planned budget.
I budget out some for that because you'll go through phases in college, and I did too, where you'll buy different designer clothes and stuff. It just happens. I never thought I would, and one of my roommates was really into fashion, and I experimented too with different fashion too. So it's a nice thing to set aside to have that money. And the last thing here is investing. Now, do you invest at all?
No.
This is something I wish I would have known a long time ago. I have listened to a lot of Dave Ramsey over the years. He's probably one of my favorite podcasts that I've listened to in the past. I don't listen to him much anymore, but I have taken a lot of the things he has taught me and applied it to my own finances, and it's changed my life completely.
Okay.
Do you know who Dave Ramsey is even?
I've heard of him.
You should definitely check him out because he's a Christian like we are, but his master is, mastering finances, mastering investing, making it so you're never not living in debt, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Not obsessing over money, but having enough to get by and knowing how to have freedom in life. Because let's be honest, money does equal freedom to a degree. Yeah. It does. When you have more money, you have more freedom.
Yeah.
So something that I wish I would have known a long time ago, and I started doing this a couple of years back, is start investing into the stock market. Okay. And investing into quality stocks, like companies that we know that are not going anywhere, like your Apple, your Tesla, the big companies that are Microsoft is another great one, Nvidia, another great one. And also index funds like the S&P fund, even Dow Jones is a good one too. Russell 500, investing little bits every month into these amounts, because what happens is compounding buildups over year after year.
Right.
And Dave Ramsey, he's even shown this play out. If you start when you're 25, putting in $100 every month into the S&P. By the time you're 65, you will have over $1 million in the S&P just by doing that, $100 every month. So I started doing that a few years ago. I'm 32, going to be 32 this year. So it'll be like, if that logic is true, if that runs up to that, and I'll have about close to, by the time I'm 65, I'm close to 800,000 in just that one account, but you're only 18. And I bring this up because I want to bring this up because a lot of young people watching this, they can benefit from this. They can be millionaires by the time they are, in their upper 50s and not have to work for the rest of their life. So that's something I wanted to bring up there, because if I knew that in college, I would have totally taken advantage of that. I would have started investing when I was 15 had I known that. Right. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, because investing can change somebody's life. And I've done it for over a couple of years now, and it's greatly helped me. I mean, I have several different accounts I invest in. I invest in high risk accounts, low risk, and medium risk. I have money set aside for all those different accounts. But basically, I bring that up though because you're going to work in college, right?
Yeah.
I recommend, here's another thing too to keep your finances in order, paying yourself out of what you make. Now, do you know what that means?
I'm not sure.
Paying yourself as your employee. Basically thinking like when you get your paycheck, I do this myself. When I get my paycheck every couple weeks, when I get paid from my day job, I work for an insurance company. I verify insurance. When I get my paycheck, I act like I'm the boss, and then I pay myself out of that. So I don't get access to my whole paycheck. I pay myself, and then that other money gets invested. It gets put into other accounts. Okay. I don't touch it. I live on less than what I make. I actually live on quite a bit less than I make. And that's what I pay myself. I'm only allowed that amount of money. I basically, there's another hand, like the job will pay me, and I will divide. I'll say this money goes to me, that money goes in the accounts.
All right.
So basically that can change your life right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, what's the biggest thing you think that people do wrong when it comes to money your age?
They spend it like all as soon as they get paid. Living
paycheck to paycheck. That is a big thing, especially kids. They don't know how to save money.
Yeah.
They have no idea what they would be lucky to even have $1,000 saved up. Yeah. And I've always been a person where I've saved money. I remember my first high paying job when I was little. I was painting houses. And I made $10 an hour. At that time, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I stuck a ton of that stuff away. And when I went to college, I had a couple grand on the side that I had saved up from then. And that wasn't even accounting for the radio job I had later in high school too. Like, so for me, I've always been a saver. And I put that out there because so many kids nowadays live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You ask people, they're like, wait till I get paid. You ever hear that reference?
Yeah.
I'll pay you when I get paid.
Right.
I never wanted to be that type of person. I wanted to always be like, here, I can afford this right now. And it's not a bragging right. It's a security aspect. It's basically, if something would come up, I can cover this expense. And that's how I've gone about that in my life. But I bring this up though, because you're young. You are 18 and you can take this knowledge that I'm giving you today and be a millionaire by 50.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So do that.
That's smart.
Be successful. So are you going to party in college, Eli?
Well, as of right now, that's not the plan.
As of right now, it's not the plan.
I can't make any promises because I can't predict the future personally. But as of right now, I don't plan on being a big party person.
I can see you being a party person. I can picture Eli being the guy running down the stairs, wearing the toga outfit. Let's go, one more shot. I can see it now. I can see it. You can't see that?
I mean, I can kind of.
Did you say what school you're going to yet?
No, I'm going to Bowling Green State University, one of the biggest party colleges.
Exactly. If you didn't hear that, that's Bowling Green State University, one of the biggest party colleges in the USA. I think they won the second top spot this past year.
Probably something like that.
It was definitely in the top 5. I mean, they're ridiculous for partying. I have known quite a bit of everyone there, and everyone has come out pretty messed up. That's why when you tell me Bowling Green, I'm thinking, I might never see Eli again. Because there's a few people I don't even know where they are at now in life, and they went to Bowling Green and I never heard from them again. So I call it the Bermuda Triangle of colleges because it's a wild card. Now I'm probably sounding like, oh, you shouldn't party and whatnot. I say party. The reason I say party is because you have to have a time in your life when you let go. Everybody, I feel, has to have a time in their life when they just let go and just go crazy for a little bit. And if you don't do it when you're in college, you're going to do it later in life when you're working and then screw something up then. Or maybe if you're in a relationship and it's going to screw something up then. By getting that party aspect out of your system, you'll basically want to not party in the future. Like for me, I partied hard in college. I did. I partied hard, got stupid. If you've listened to past podcasts, I'm sure I've talked about stories somewhere in there. In my 36 episodes, I'm sure one story has come up or another. I mean, I've thrown a couch off a balcony in college. I mean,
That's wild.
I did some crazy shit. And we talked on your podcast.
Yeah.
We picked up storm drains. We had the night where we got drunk and we drove a truck around and picked up those giant 100-pound storm drains and hauled those back to our townhouse. And I don't regret any of it. It was fun. It made memories, and it's definitely something I recommend getting a little crazy every now and then for a psychological aspect. There's nothing wrong with that, having some fun in college, because one of the worst things you can do, is regret not having a fun time, and you graduate and be like, oh, I wish I would have done that. Because let's face it, when you're on your deathbed, are you going to be thinking, oh, I shouldn't have thrown that couch out the window? No, you're not. No. So just do it. If there's something to take away from this podcast, guys, if you ever questioning when to throw, if you should throw a couch off the balcony, just do it. just do it, because it's something you can always say in the future. Like, I threw a couch off the balcony. How many people can say that?
Not a lot.
Not a lot of people. So think of whenever you come across decisions like that in college. Think about, is this going to make a good bar story in the future? If the answer is yes, and it's not going to get you thrown in jail, do it.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a really good way to look at that.
It is. As long as something, let me rephrase that. If it's not going to hurt somebody else, and it's not going to get you thrown in jail, do it. Because you only live once.
Yeah.
YOLO.
It's true.
That was one of the words I used to live by. YOLO. YOLO. Yeah. You only live once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I don't plan on being a hard partier, but no.
Yeah, I beg to differ. I still see Eli being the guy in the toga outfit. I'm telling you, you're gonna come back a year from now and be like, "Let's go drinking, guys." I'll be like, "Eli, settle down. We're at the gym." With that, though, I say go out and have a fun time. Don't always feel peer pressure to go out, though. Yeah. I think it's important to have yourself have boundaries and not lose track of why you're in college in the first place. Because I believe Bowling Green's a pretty expensive school, if it is.
It's decently expensive, but I've seen a lot maybe more expensive.
So you don't want to waste your money,
Yeah.
So definitely don't go too crazy. Don't end up in jail. But you don't always feel forced to go out, though. And the last one I want to comment here: always wear a condom. I waited until Eli took a drink of water. I was waiting for him to pick up his water. I was like, "This is perfect. Let's open up this." Because I'm telling you might be laughing and say, "Oh, I'm not going to get with it." You trust me. You're going to want to take that advice. Always wear a condom. And there will be times where you will think, oh, it's fine, I'll just pull out and wear a condom. Just be safe. I had a couple close calls. So just
that's fair.
That's always a good one to remember.
It's funny, but that's probably good advice.
I'm just saying how it is. All right, so now it's time for the listener Q&A. You guys posted on Instagram questions for Eli to answer. We're going to get into those questions right now. First question, Eli. Is Chip a female?
Well, biologically, I would say he's probably not. Despite how confusing it may be, he acts like he's a male.
Okay, so the question is, do you think he's a female? The question is Chip a female? This is Ethan Carter.
I'm like pretty sure he's a male, but
okay.
There's some pretty questionable calls.
Next question. Oh my gosh. Take another drink of water, Eli.
Oh man. I think I know where this is going.
Eli, explain your journey in becoming the greatest masturbator.
Okay. All right.
This is okay. Eli, you just talk. I'm just gonna.
All right.
Listen.
So me and the boys, we were going fishing, right? So
not how I thought this was gonna start.
So I'm chilling at home. They're like, "Yo, let's go fishing." So we go fishing. We go in this spot, and there's this wise old man who is actually fairly annoying, but he's this wise old man trying to teach us how to fish good, like teaching us methods. And I didn't use any of his techniques, but that's besides the point. I was the only one that day to catch a fish. So like of our whole like probably 3 to 5 hours we spent fishing, I was the only one that caught a fish. Therefore, I was the master baiter.
When you brought up the old guy, I was getting kind of confused and concerned, but
no, there's
it also sounded like a side quest in a game too. I found this random old guy. He taught me how to fish. I became the greatest masturbator.
I mean, yeah, because we were fishing in this one spot and we weren't getting anything, so we left and got live bait and went to a different spot. And there's this guy, just no one else is there. He's just there by himself fishing. And we come up and he's like, and starts like telling us all these different things. And he's taking a look at our fishing rods and he's like showing us like what's good and what's not. It fixes them because there's stuff wrong with them. And is just showing us techniques. It was wild.
I just keep thinking about this tournament. This guy is showing us techniques.
He's showing like good casting techniques, how to put the worm on the hook properly. It was great. He even like good nodding. He's a good guy. He just got annoying.
So it was fishing.
It was fishing.
Fishing.
That's the only master baiting happening. All right, guys. Baiting as in fishing.
I'll share this picture that Eli sent to me the other day. He just sent this to me out of the blue, and I about died. I was drinking some tea at night. I literally about spit my coffee out.
Yeah, I knew there might be some repercussions to posting that image, but my defensive thought was it'll get some good laughs.
I thought somebody hacked your account when I first got the picture. I was like, "What the hell, Eli?"
Nah, I decided to get some good laughs, so it'd be worth it.
It was like 12 o'clock at night. This guy Snapchats this picture to me. I about died. Okay, the next question. Gary wants to know if you will do Fall Guy duos with him. Is this that game Fall Guys?
Yes.
Okay. I've never played it. I don't know much about it.
It's an alright game. I might run some duos with you, Gary. Don't worry. Of course.
All right. Could you share a defining moment? Okay, now we're getting to some good questions here that people asked. Could you share a defining moment in history that changed your life and shaped who you are today?
In history, as in like my own history?
Your own history.
Okay. Defining moment in my history. So this probably revolves around my whole eye problem, because growing up as a kid, I thought it was normal until I was little and my dad had his truck bed out in the middle of the yard and I ran into it because they all knew it was right there. And they're like, "Dude, how'd you not see that? It was right there." And it was because I have an eye disease that causes night blindness and takes away peripheral vision and stuff. So a lot of that, there was a point where, I had a blood vessel burst in my one eye as well. So I got a blind spot. And for getting treated for all that, there's a point where I was going to the hospital, Cleveland, once a month because of that. And it just shaped who I am because I've had to adapt to that living because most people have the full range of peripherals.
Right. I can see my whiskey table behind me right now.
Yeah. I can only see maybe that much.
I was gonna say I've noticed when you're looking at me, you're looking at me like this, and I feel like that's so he's like, I know he's not turned to the camera much, but I feel like it's because your peripheral vision.
Yeah, because they call it tunnel vision.
Now, have you had that your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. So
you were diagnosed when you were a young age then?
Yeah, I was diagnosed at a young age, and it's gotten somewhat worse, but not too much worse. But
how has that affected your overall life then? Because I can't imagine I mean, picture like literally, guys, when you're like thinking about this, picture being able to see straight out in front, basically. Not like basically think about a vision. It's basically
looking down a tunnel.
Like a tunnel. Like that has to be very hard.
Because I mean, it's taken a lot. Like I was in marching band in high school, so like running drills and whatever, I'd have to be extra cautious because if we're learning it, I could easily just run into someone else because I don't see them there, and if I'm backwards marching or sideways marching, I'm not going to be staring over like that.
Have you ever thought of that to be a way? I just happen to think of like a way you could possibly meet a woman.
I mean,
happen to run into her purposely.
I haven't thought of that.
And be like, I'm sorry, miss, I can't see. Could you help me pick up my books and possibly give me your number?
I mean, I haven't thought of it that way, but
you always got to look at the glass half full aspect.
Yeah.
Even on negatives in your life, you got to say like, how could this benefit me?
I mean, I have seen benefits though. Like it creates really good laughs sometimes because like, for example, someone would go to give me a fist bump and then I'll walk right by them because I didn't see them. So then people around me will start laughing and they'll be like, what the heck, dude? And I'll turn around and be like, oh, my bad.
That's happened to me at the gym. I'll be like, good workout today, Eli. And he literally just turns around. And I'm like, dude, what did I do today?
Or like at work, I run into people sometimes. Or even like, I won't hear them go by because I'm not paying attention.
Hold the phone.
Okay.
I got an idea.
All right.
Go into Walmart.
And
just start walking into things. And say, I'm sorry, miss, I didn't see you. And just keep, like, have somebody record it. This could go viral. You could be a millionaire in like literally probably tomorrow if you did this tonight. But just go one to Walmart, start walking into things. Like I would totally do this stuff. Like there's a reason that God gave me my vision and didn't like take that away. Because I would have been like, all right, I don't have vision. We're gonna make the best out of this, guys. Let's go to Walmart and just knock everything down. Like I'd be a menace. I would be so destructive. Like
I could just tell I didn't see it.
I would like try to hit on women that way too. I would happen to purpose like see out of my tunnel vision a good looking girl. I'd just happen to boom, run into her, knock her down, and be like, I didn't see you. I'm blind. Can I get your number and take you out on a drink? I mean, that's
smart.
Perfect opportunity.
That's so smart, actually.
You got to think outside the box, Eli. You're too young to be thinking inside the box.
That's true.
At this age, at your age, the box is here. You need to be thinking way out here.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. But no, that's smart though. I mean, I'm going to be on a whole campus. So, I mean...
Everybody will know you as the blind guy that hits up girls. Yeah, I'm telling you, Eli's going to be a ladies' man. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Use some of my tips. I think you're going to be good.
That's smart.
Can you share a success from your life that you are the most proud of?
Most proud of? Probably my progress in music personally, because I mean I was in band since 5th grade, so I worked hard towards that. Mm-hmm. And there's an award called the John Philip Sousa Award, all right? Okay. And so basically, I mean it's basically saying you're the best in the band. I mean not to brag or anything.
Right.
But basically points out all your hard work and dedication and success in your work in your like journey through music. Okay. And I got that my junior year.
I see. Are you ever looking at writing music?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I've considered it a lot. I would like to at some point.
This is interesting. You ever been in a band?
I have not.
I'm surprised.
My friends and I almost started one, but then we didn't.
We'll plug your podcast here at the end. We'll plug your podcast.
Yeah, we talk about it on my podcast.
That's going to tie into that here. But all right, that's good though. That's a real good one. Do you have any influential figures in your life that help to keep you motivated, and who are they and why?
Okay, influential figures. I mean, in a fitness journey, you kind of are because you're like such a smart fitness guy, and
That's
seeing
right.
seeing all of the stuff you like, all of your fitness journey inspires me to do like keep going.
Awesome.
And then outside of that, just in general, my dad. I mean, my dad isn't here anymore, but he's still influential because he was a great guy, and like not only was he just a great guy, but he was also a very talented musician.
You were close with your dad?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, he was a really talented musician, which inspires me for that. I mean, that kind of inspires some music writing too, because he wrote some of his own music.
That's why is that why you're into music like that you are? You got
Because
it from
of
your
my
dad?
Yep.
That's interesting.
I mean,
That's
actually,
cool.
both parents, but yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. Because my dad played guitar, my mom plays piano, and so I mean, I started playing guitar when I was like 8 or something like that.
Wow.
It was like 8 or 10. I started taking lessons, and I mean, when I didn't like lessons when I was younger because I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I mean, it stuck with me.
And guitar is the only instrument you play other than saxophone, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play acoustic bass guitar and acoustic guitar, bass guitar, and saxophone.
And have you ever written any music yourself?
No.
Okay.
I actually started writing a song and then got writer's block and then didn't go back to it.
Writer's block is hard. I mean, I wrote a book, so I know how writer's block works. It can be tough. It can stop you in your tracks. Mm-hmm. You have to find, basically when you hit that too, when you hit writer's block, I found you have to find. You kind of have to take a break from it for a bit, but you can't take a break so much that you forget to go back. But you have to take a break enough for your mind to unwind, to rethink of ideas. That's how I got to about 3/4 of my book done. I had about 1/4 left. And I had hit a block that blocked me for about a couple days, which was funny because when I wrote my book, Awaken the Warrior, I flew through it. That 300-page something book, 314 page, I think. I flew through it. I was literally every day. I was motivated. I woke up, had my coffee in the morning, and would get to it because I was driven to do it. But I did hit those points though toward the end of the book where I was really hitting like, crap, I don't know how to put this into words. And I found taking off a few days completely, doing something completely, going for a walk in the park or something, just to get my mind off of it. I could come back and feel refreshed again. So I never give up on writing music. That could really make you big in the future. I mean, that could really be big.
It could.
What kind of music do you write?
I mean, I never really got into the musical part of it. I just wrote some lyrics and then I don't even remember what they were, to be honest.
Okay.
But it was a thing of like, I didn't have the full instrument capability that I wanted. That was also a thing that blocked it, was not having the entire instrument capability that I thought of, that I had in mind.
I see. So you're more about writing the actual music part, not the words part.
Yeah.
I dabbled when I learned guitar in high school. I was the same way. I enjoyed writing the music part. The word part was hard.
Yeah.
I did come up with one like song for a bit and it was okay. But the music part was really what I liked.
Yeah.
Some people hire out too for the words. So, I mean, you could even get really good and just do the music parts and outsource the words. Or especially, I mean, actually nowadays there might be an AI system that matches. There probably is.
I've seen ads for one before.
I'm not gonna lie. I used GPT to generate the "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?" questions today. So it's like I'm using AI, and there's a whole podcast this season going to be on AI, guys. Don't worry. But it's amazing what AI can do, and even like in music, you could really benefit. You could look into that. I bet you could benefit from that if you wanted to dabble with that. What valuable lessons have you had in life that could benefit the listeners?
Okay, so one valuable, I guess this is more advice than lesson that I was given, but like one really big piece of advice that I like that I've been given is to not be like a like-minded sheep and make your own path. Because a lot of what's driven today, especially with social media, people like to just look at what's on there and then follow that, and then everything like the creative aspect or like personal aspect is just going away.
Do you think social media kind of ruined creativity in a way?
Yes, I think it did.
People don't think for themselves.
Yeah,
for themselves.
because you have these like higher up influencers that post their stuff, so then people see that and see that that's popular, so they want to go for that instead of going for their own thing.
Do you think it helped in a way of progressing things though? Because for me, like when I'm trying to think of like when I wrote my book, I was doing something that nobody else has really done. My book is called Awaken the Warrior. It's literally how to be a warrior in the modern day.
Right.
There's really no fitness people talking about that kind of thing. Like I've always looked at my brand as being just a warrior, that that Viking aspect to it. And when I did that, it was more of a new concept. So I didn't have like, I feel like if I would have went with a topic out there, I feel like I would have used competition and like I would have seen like, okay, this person did it like this. I would try to make it better.
Right. And
I feel like that can benefit in some ways. Like for instance, that's one reason the iPhone gets better and better, because Apple sees what Microsoft does and Google and Android, and Apple's like, we're going to one up you.
Right.
So in that way, it is better. But I see your point though. It is destroying the actual creativity aspect of people thinking about things, trying to figure things out for themselves.
Yeah.
So that's,
I mean, some people use it for betterment, but I see a lot of people out there that that just do the same thing that everyone else is doing.
Right.
I mean, that part just drives me crazy sometimes, because some people take it to extremes, in my opinion.
And copy people.
Yeah.
And like literally try to live the life of other people. Especially a lot of young people. I mean, I think of this like in the bodybuilding aspect of like nowadays, you go on Instagram and it's flooded with fitness accounts. Yeah. Like people want to know, like I get questions like why I don't post more fitness stuff. Because I have a great physique, and people are like, oh, you could be sponsored and stuff by this company. It's like, no, I wouldn't. There's like 2 million people on Instagram at any given time taking fitness progress pictures. Why am I going to try to waste my time trying to compete with that? It's like, I'm going to do my own thing. I don't want to copy off other people, be like, oh, I'm a fitness influencer. I'm going to take XYZ product. It'll make you big and strong and get paid $2,000 a month to say that. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. Why would I do that when it's not real? Like so many people on Instagram and fitness are fake as shit. Yeah. So fake. And I think that's one of the problems with social media is the fakeness of it. Right. Like for me, you can attest to I'm the same person on my social media as I am a real person. I'm the same exact person. and it's not that way for a lot of people though. Right. They are a completely different person trying to make it big on social media.
me personally, I just barely ever post anything. Yeah. Like
if I didn't run 3 businesses, I wouldn't either.
That's fair.
I wouldn't have social media if I didn't have these businesses.
That's valid.
The only reason I do is for business sake and friends' sake. I have a few friends I keep in track with and family. But if it wasn't for that, I would love to press delete on Facebook, Instagram. I'd love to delete those apps. Never have to open them again. Never have to see them again. But I'm kind of tied into stuff. It's like I kind of need that. So it's you're in a hard spot. You're in a damn hard spot. They've got you trapped.
That's just it. Like I mean, like for the podcast that my friends and I run, I mean I'm our social media manager because media production, media manager, it just ties in, and I just I have to post stuff and whatever. I mean I kind of slacking on that, but we're also slacking on posting episodes, so
that's why I shoot everything in advance. That's why you guys aren't seeing this till the fall. And it's actually the summer now, so it's all organized. But okay, the next question is, what do you use yourself? How'd they word this? What do you use yourself to motivate you when you are struggling? Okay, I'm not reading this right. Weight loss is okay. Here we go. The person asked, weight loss is hard for bigger guys. What advice do you have, and what do you use yourself to motivate you when you're struggling?
Okay. So what advice do I have, and what do I use to motivate myself?
Since you're a bigger guy. Yep.
So I mean, advice wise, just right now for any other bigger guys trying to lose weight is just do something you're enjoying. Like for me, I really enjoy lifting, and that worked. Just like find some enjoyment out of it, but also stick with it and keep like find things that motivate you. So like for me, my main motivation was getting in healthier shape, because I know on both sides of my family, diabetes runs in the family. So if I wouldn't have tried to better myself and lose the weight and whatever, I mean, I probably would have 100% got diabetes, because I was getting on a really heavy side and on both families. So yeah, a lot of my motivation for fitness comes from just trying to live a healthier life.
That's a good motivation right there, just to live a healthy life. I mean,
yeah,
you can think of it as in a process of you're getting age.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? I always tell people this too. Do you want to spend your older years going to doctor's appointments every couple of weeks, having something wrong with you, or do you want to spend it just being healthy?
Yeah.
That is enough motivation right there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where you live with. If you're watching this, you might live overseas and have free healthcare. A lot of countries do. We do not. Free healthcare is a fantasy here. If something goes wrong with you, even a simple procedure, like appendicitis or something, and an in and out surgery, if you don't have health insurance here, it's going to cost you $60,000 or more.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So just those like things like to stay healthy, that is enough motivation right there, because if you're healthy, you don't have problems, you can live the life you want to live. You can get out of bed every morning feeling great, except after leg day, you get out of bed and
you're just like, do I really need to get up right now?
Or you get out of bed and you fall over.
Yes, I've had that.
I actually had that the other day, but it wasn't due to my legs being sore. It was the fact I had slept on my ankle and it cut off blood circulation to my right leg. I got out of bed, I collapsed. Siri, my dog, jumps out of the bed and like, what do you do? What's wrong with you? I'm like, I'll be good, girl. Just let me get my blood back in my leg.
Yeah.
But I totally collapsed. It was crazy. But so health is a great motivation.
Yeah.
It
and
really
then
is.
One more piece of advice I have to add on to that too is like, I know like you feel like as a bigger guy, you would feel like you're going to be judged more or whatever. Just even if people do judge you for it, just don't let it get to your head and just ignore it. I mean, because if you let it discourage you, all you're doing is letting them win. And like if you just ignore it and keep pushing, a good mindset to have is it doesn't matter what they say. I know that I'm putting in the work and time and making progress, so it doesn't matter what they think. Even if they don't see it, you know what you're doing.
It's ignoring people.
Yeah. If there's people that are just being jerks, just ignore them.
Let them be jerks. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I always tell people, at the end of the day, you're going to be the one climbing into your bed, going to sleep at night and waking up the next day.
Yeah.
Once you are done with that confrontation with that person, it doesn't matter. And that can come to anything in life too. Like if you get in an argument with somebody or something, in 6 months, it's not going to matter.
Right.
You're gonna forget about it.
Exactly.
And it's when somebody's putting you down, because if there's one person that's been put down it's me. I've been put down from a ton of things in my life. I always bring this story up because it's one of my favorite and greatest accomplishments. It's the one from high school. My literature teacher, when I was a senior, said I was never going to succeed in life. I was never going to amount to anything. I'll never forget those words. And I made her eat those words when I became a published author. I became a published author, wrote a book, something that, I barely passed literature back then. I was terrible in school. I just was not a good person at school. I didn't have school smarts.
Right.
But I love proving people wrong.
Yeah.
Because you hear that and it's motivation alone. People say, oh, you're never going to get big. You're never going to get strong. And then you work your ass off. You hit those goals. You can use it as driving force. Yeah. So it's fun to not just ignore those people, but keep those thoughts. And the next time you go for a heavy squat, think about that and be like, I'm gonna freaking smash this number out of the park. And it's that drive that can bring you to the next level. Then.
Yeah. And then like also with a psychological thing is like, if they see it's getting to you and just you let it discourage you, they're going to probably keep it up even more because they find joy out of it just because that's who they are, I guess. But
Why do you think they do it though? Why do they?
I mean, it would probably just depend. I mean, it could be a background situation, or it could just be a personality situation.
Do you think it's jealousy?
It could be jealousy too. If they see you making a lot of progress that they are jealous of, they'll just
Jealousy is such a thing running true nowadays too, especially with social media. A lot of social media is jealousy. People say this person posts this, I'm gonna post this.
Yeah.
It's like it is. Jealousy is a dangerous concept nowadays.
Yeah.
And it can really mess with somebody.
Yeah. I think like the best part would be if you don't let it get to you and just like ignore them and make them eat their words and just push past that. It'd be fun seeing them get mad about it.
Yep. Push past your limits, guys, and just make people eat their words.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Last question here I have for you.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who is losing their vision?
All right. Advice for someone losing their vision. Don't let that, like, if you have it and if you know you're gonna lose your vision, don't let that discourage you from doing things. Like, if, like, for me personally, my life would be way different if I just sat here and thought about it every day and like, man, I'm gonna lose my vision. Like, don't just sit there and think about it and mope about it. Just live your life and do stuff about it. Act as if it's not gonna happen.
Right.
I mean, like, obviously take precautions and like prepare yourself for when you do lose your vision. Like, if you're gonna go blind, it'd be smart to learn Braille. And I think there's some phones out there that have, I mean, I haven't looked into it, but like a version for blind people. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I think iPhone does. Yeah. But just keep living, like, just do stuff and let it motivate you to do more. Like, if you're just sitting there moping about it, you're probably going to lose out on a lot of opportunities that you could partake in, whether you had vision, like whether you're losing your vision or not. Right.
Now, this question was asked by somebody on the questionnaire on Instagram. But this actually does run true in my life as well with my dad. My dad is going blind, actually. He's lost a lot of his vision. And he's gone through a depression, lately. And he's still in that depression. Do you have any tips that could help a person that could see all their life? They worked their ass off. Like my dad, he's been a big motivator in my life. He's worked his ass off. He's allowed me to do so much in my life because he gave me security with funds.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for that. And he's done all this stuff. And now he's to his retirement where he's so supposed to be enjoying the hell out of life.
Yeah.
He's lost his vision. And it's getting worse and worse. And it's like, I saw this question come up on the Instagram. I was like, that's a good question to ask Eli, because somebody young like you're 18, you're going to have to go through your whole life with the, less vision, and it might get worse. There's, it's,
I mean, there's a high chance I do lose my vision when I'm older.
Right. It's just, it's sad to think about, but because it's a sense that we all take for granted.
Yeah.
We wake up in the morning. I mean, without my contacts, everything is blurry as shit. Like, it's terrible. But it's like every morning, I put my contacts in, like I take it for granted. It's like, I put those contacts in, I'm like, I can go on with my day and I don't even think about it. I just go to my computer for the day, start working. And there's people that can't see. They get up and they see barely anything.
Right.
I couldn't imagine. Do you have any tips for that? Like,
I mean,
mindset wise.
Mindset wise, I think it's just good to say, even though maybe I have lost my vision, okay, that doesn't mean you've lost everything else. So like, you still have your sense of hearing, talking, taste, touch, smell. You can still do other things. Like, one big inspirator for me is my grandpa, because he has the same eye condition I do, and he's blind. So he went blind probably in his 40s, I think. But despite, like, if you didn't know he was blind, he could easily fool you to think he can still see.
Wow.
Like, I mean, even while he was blind, he still had his own garden. He would tend to the garden and everything. He takes care of chickens. In their backyard, they've got like lines set up around the yard so he can make his way around. He makes house repairs too. It's crazy. Like, there was one time he was climbing up in the rafters in the garage to do something, which I mean, with this story, you got to be careful of your limits.
Yeah.
Because he hurt his shoulder because he fell, but he like doesn't let it stop him. He keeps doing like daily life things that you wouldn't think a blind person would do.
It's good advice. It's hard though when you've gone, like you said, he lost his vision when what age?
I think it was his 40s.
40s.
Yeah.
Did he have a transition period? Like, was there a period in his life where he was really struggling mentally?
I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I'm not totally sure. I haven't talked to him a lot about that part.
I see. Okay. Any other tips there?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just don't let it discourage you. Just
easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, yeah. But I mean, all it comes down to is trying to keep a positive mindset towards it.
Right.
Like, look, even though you've lost that, look at all the other sides of life that you still have.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to summarize this podcast now in just a few things. Like, we're going to just talk about some closing points that people should remember here. Losing weight without cardio, it's about having a proper weightlifting program with progressive overload. That's really what it comes down to. Any thoughts to comment on that there?
I mean, yeah, just keeping consistent and, like you said, progressive overload and all that.
Training about 3 days a week at least, I'd say.
Yeah, at least 3 days a week, I'd say.
When it comes to diet, I recommend, high protein diet, moderate carb and moderate fat, calorie deficit of about 500 calories. And Eli needs to start tracking his carbs and fats. track those full numbers, have those full numbers.
Yep.
And then our second topic, succeeding in college, budget, coming up with a budget for everything, the food, fun, lifestyle, and investing. And it's eat budget foods. When for you've already, this doesn't apply to you, but for anybody who doesn't have a meal plan, canned tuna, the rice, all easy things like milk, eggs. Keep your diet simple. Don't buy extravagant things, things that you can save money on. You want to. And then for a party, there is one thing I apparently forgot to mention here. When at a party, guys, you can use the fill-up method between drinks. So basically, this is to not get you too drunk, basically, when you're drinking. And this is something I did want to cover, and I don't know why I didn't cover it. I kind of forgot. But when you're at a party and you're drinking, I tell people between every beer, fill your beer up with water, and then have another beer. So basically, drink your first beer. Fill that beer up with water. Nobody will even know. You'll be walking around with a beer. I still do it to this day when I go out because it's true. Smart. Because one of the problems with drinking, is dehydration. Too much alcohol will dehydrate you, dry you out. So it's important, if you drink a beer, fill that next one up with water after that, and you'll notice you'll drink less too because you'll be less thirsty. You'll drink less beer. So it's something I recommend to a lot of people. It's just an easy way to go about it. It's called the fill-up method. Okay. And then also too, if there is ever a night that you do drink too much, because there will be. You're going to the biggest party school in the world. Something I always recommend is when you get home before bed, have a glass of milk and a banana. The milk will make it for a base in your stomach. Basically, alcohol is an acidic thing. Alcohol is very acidic in the body. Milk is a base. And having that base in there with the banana, the potassium, will help you wake up better. And so I always recommend that. And then in the morning, if you do have a hangover and you think life's going to end, you can make I call it a hangover shake. And all it is a glass of milk, a banana, about 4 to 8 ounces of OJ, some salt, and drink that, and you'll feel a lot better too. Some spinach in there too for the added potassium. But that's can also be a way to get rid of a hangover because you're going to the biggest party school. You're gonna have a hangover. I'm gonna get a message in the future from you saying, Shawn, I drank too much. Can you? I need you to help me. And I'll be sending you that hangover formula. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I know it is. Like I said, you might not think so, but it is going to happen. And then the last tip, always wear a condom. Don't forget about that last tip. That's one that you're going to regret your whole life if you mess that situation up.
That's true.
You're going to be I'm going to be getting saying, Shawn, I screwed up. I've got a kid on the way.
I promise you won't get that call. Or I can't promise, but
I was gonna say,
I'm pretty sure.
Never promise anything you can't keep.
Yeah,
never
that's
promise
true.
anything you can't keep.
It's true.
But do you have any personal thoughts or things you'd like to share?
I mean, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good summary. Just with working out, keep consistent and just drive, like work as hard as you can, pretty much, but not too much because
you don't want to burn yourself out.
You don't want to burn yourself out, obviously.
Right.
College wise, I mean, I haven't been to college yet, so I don't have much advice there. Just if you party and whatever, just be smart about it. That's a mindset I'd think. Just don't be too stupid.
And I also wanted to bring this up too. You are the host of a podcast yourself, Eli.
Yeah, I am. I am a co-host with 3 of my friends of a podcast called The Parking Lot Lads.
Links down below.
Yep, links down below. We used to post episodes every week, but at that time of recording,
by the time this goes out in the fall, and so this is going to be released the first week of September, this episode, I want you to have like at least 3 to 4 more episodes out.
I'll try. See, one of our biggest problems is that it's a lot of trying to get the other 3 to cooperate. I think that's the biggest issue.
That's
not to throw everyone under the bus, but when we have a group chat, and I would push out a message saying, "Hey guys, I think we need to record. When should we do it?" And it would be a dry group chat. No responses. That's
one reason why from the starting day, I launched this 2 years ago, 1WARRIOR. I started it myself. My first 20 episodes were just me solo doing topics, talking, and it went really good. Actually, I was able to cover a lot of things, and it kept me consistent because I only had to count on myself.
It's true.
It does benefit you. I mean, it is nice having a co-host and like that, but it is beneficial to the point where when you're on yourself, it's kind of on you to come up with stuff, and you don't have to depend so much on other people, which can be a problem.
Yeah, obviously.
But I was actually on their podcast. I'll link that episode down below, and you can watch that. The camera quality looks like it was taped on a potato, but
yeah, we don't have the greatest equipment for recording, but
I will say you motivated me to restart this though.
Really?
I about a week before deciding this, I posted out on Instagram, should I restart 1WARRIOR? Because I was in the process where I had some extra time. I was thinking about trying to get back into things, and besides my gaming channel, I'm a YouTube gamer, but besides that, I wanted to bring back the fitness podcast.
Right.
And I thought about just bringing it back the same way before with just audio. And then I was on your show, and it just motivated me like, I want to bring this back. I'm dumping money into this, and we're going to do this. Like, when I came home that day, I financed $2,000 that day in my one account so I could start doing this. And this room, I mean, was a storage room. This room was transformed in about 2 weeks. I painted the whole room, bought everything, and the whole total cost with everything, paint and renovations, everything was about 1.2K. And I had budgeted about 2K for it. But you are the motivator that brought me to where we are today, and I thank you for that. I mean, the whole logo is new too. We didn't have a logo last season. It was just me. You know, 1WARRIOR was based off me, but now I actually paid a graphic designer when I went to school for graphic design myself. I paid a designer to design us a logo, which came out freaking fantastic.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yep, I like it a lot. There's actually stickers that you can take one and put that on something too that you have too back there. Before you leave today. But I just wanted to thank you though, because you did motivate me to bring this podcast back. And that's why I chose you to be my first guest too. Besides your amazing progress in weight loss, it was the fact that you got me back into doing something that I originally loved doing. And I thank you for that, Eli.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad I could motivate you.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I always look for motivation on outside sources, honestly. But anything you want to plug though? Anything besides your podcast that you want to plug?
I mean, I have a gaming channel. Right now it's kind of dead.
Links down below.
I mean, as of the time of recording, I don't post a lot or enough, but maybe by the time this comes out,
September, the first week of September.
I've got a couple months.
Yep.
I might get some more content out there. And then probably my Twitter is where I update everything. That's what I update the most.
All links down below.
Same goes for the podcast.
You have an Instagram too, and
not for my gaming channel, but the podcast has one.
Okay.
I mean, you can just plug the link tree for the podcast.
Right. I'll put the link tree down below, just like mine. And one last thing, Eli, what is one thing you can give the listeners as a takeaway that might benefit them somehow?
Ooh, a takeaway.
Yep.
All right. No, that's your advice. I'm not going to say it.
Just literally say the same thing that I used on your podcast.
No, I was thinking use a condom because that's a funny thing you said. But no, that's not my takeaway. Takeaway is find things to motivate you. Don't give up. Keep trying. Like whether it comes to fitness or other things you're trying to do, don't just give up. Just keep trying and work hard towards it, and you'll see progress where you want if you're working hard enough.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't have said it better myself. I pretty much summed up the whole podcast with just those words to a certain degree. But yeah, we will be back next week with another episode. Thank you guys for coming out. My links are always in the description. And as always, guys, stay strong and God bless. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Pretty good, wasn't that?
That was pretty good.
Yeah. See, I always let the tape roll a little bit while the credits roll. So it's So
yeah, that's valid.
Thank you, Eli.
Yeah, thanks for having me. That was good.